Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Kansas Missing and Unsolved podcast. I'm your host, Ricky Chabruggi, and joining me again tonight down there from Elkhart is Hope and May. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're doing all right, Ricky. How are you?
It's been a tough week.
It has been.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
has.
been a tough week. I had to say goodbye to a good buddy of mine tonight, and I'll pop up a picture here real quickly. My buddy Sammy.
Aw. So
I had to say
cute.
goodbye to him today. He had this big old bump on his neck that they weren't sure what it was, and they just were, saying the tissue around it was dead and it was just continually bleeding, and they didn't think he would be able to make it through they weren't sure if he would be able to make it through the anesthetic, and if he made it through that, the recovery. So they just thought maybe it was better maybe to just go ahead and, put him down. So we made a decision to do that.
Hard.
Sammy's been
Yep.
on the show quite a few times.
Oh, yeah. Yep, my big buddy.
Well, we got Harry, Chris, Israel,
Yeah.
and Esther in the room right now.
Still got my little buddy, though, my chihuahua. I don't know where she went, but still got my chihuahua. And Donna says she'll have to catch the replay.
We're going to cover a bunch of cases tonight. Just real quickly, though, Hope and May were able to go to the trial today, not a trial, the hearing, and there was basically two key points relayed. Hope will tell you the two new pieces of information that are out right now.
Well, for one, May pushed buttons, and I don't know where we're at now.
Oh, I'll come in and fix it. You can go ahead.
Thank you. So sorry. My
But
fingers slip.
the judge has decided to consolidate the hearings or the trial, which means all of them's going to be tried at once. And after that decision had been made, then Paul Grice stayed behind, and he signed a waiver to waive his rights to a prelim and to a speedy trial. So the next court date for the other four is October something. Then they'll have another one in November, and then the prelim will be in December 17th, I think.
Yeah.
And then Paul will do his arraignment sentencing on February 19th. So that's what we learned today.
Oh, wow.
But, the defense still hasn't got a full discovery yet. The medical examiner hasn't released the report yet. So there's a lot of information and evidence in this case.
All right.
From what I understood, there was 4 total terabytes, and all the defense attorneys, I think even the prosecutors, only have 2 of those terabytes as of now.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Terabytes are huge files.
Yeah, they are. One of the attorneys said that there's like over 6,000 photos to go through on just what they've got so far.
Holy mackerel.
Like there's 199 videos and 88 text messages, 27 phone calls and phone dumps.
Dang.
They're still waiting for reports from the 4 agencies, which is Kansas DCF, KBI, OSBI, and Guyman Police Department.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff to have to go through.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody.
And just to kind of, we don't know what's going on exactly, but about on Sunday they released an affidavit that had the essential cause of death in there, and now with Paul Grice staying behind and essentially saying he's just going to forego his right to a fair and speedy trial. The big gossip right now is maybe he's cooperating with the state. So it's going to be very interesting down there in Guyman as the months go on, and Hope and May are going to be down there covering it now that I'm working, and they're just way better looking and better at covering court cases than I am. So, Ricky, tell our audience about Dietrich Foster, and I'll go ahead and find the Facebook group that everybody needs to join.
Okay. This is Dietrich Foster, missing from Independence, Kansas since April 12, 2020. He was 37 when he was missing, and now be 42. He was 5'9", 190 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. He was reported missing on May 12th, 2020. He was last seen April 12, 2020, in Independence. KBI agents and detectives from the Independence Police Department are conducting the case as a homicide based upon findings during the investigation into Dietrich's disappearance. Again, at the time of his disappearance, Dietrich was 37. He's now 42. Yeah, 5'9", 190 pounds, black hair and brown eyes. Dietrich has a scar on his chest from heart surgery and a scar on the right side of his nose. He has the following tattoos: a cross on his right forearm, the astrological sign for Gemini on his right arm, 3 dice on his arm, the name Dejeuner on his arm, and the word foo on his abdomen. If you have any information regarding Dietrich's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Independence, Kansas Police Department at 620-332-1700 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. And there is a governor's reward of $5,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for the disappearance and suspected murder of Dietrich Foster. So if anybody has any information, no matter how small you think it might be or how minute you might think it be, or even if you think it's unimportant, get it in anyway. Let law enforcement go through it and see what they can find out, and see if it's something that they really need to move this case forward.
Hey, Ricky, I'm going to go ahead and pull you down. Leave the studio and come back. Your audio is really, really, really bad. Leave the studio and come back. While we're waiting on you to come back, I'll go ahead and read that again. It's just Dietrich Foster, missing from Independence, Kansas, April 12th, 2020. He was 37 when he disappeared, and now he's 42. And this was Independence, Kansas. He went missing from Independence on April 12th, 2020. He was reported missing on May 12th. He was last seen around April 12th in Independence, Kansas. KBI agents and detectives from the Independence Police Department are conducting the case as a homicide based on findings during the investigation into Foster's disappearance. At the time of his disappearance, Dietrich was 37 years old, and he is 5'9" and weighs 190 pounds. He has black hair and brown eyes. He has a scar on his chest from heart surgery and a scar on the right side of his nose, and he has the following tattoos across his right forearm: the astrological sign for Gemini on his right arm, 3 dice on his arm, the name Dejeuner on his arm, and the word foo in his abdomen. If you have any information, please contact the Independence, Kansas Police Department at 620-332-1700, and then also the KBI at 785-296-4017. Ricky, do we got you loud and clear?
I hope so.
Yeah, we got you, man. If for any
Okay,
reason
cool.
it happens again, I'll pull you down and just do the same thing.
Okay.
But I have posted the link to the Dietrich's Facebook page, so please follow that if you're watching on any of those, and definitely help Dietrich's family. And then Ricky's going to tell you about Alexander Perez.
Okay, let me see here. Alexander Perez, missing from Ulysses, Kansas since December 1st, 2020. He was 35 when he went missing. He's now 39. He's 5'11", 235 pounds, black hair. He shaves nearly bald and brown eyes. Alexander called a family member and said he'd be coming over to do laundry on December 1st. He never arrived at the family member's home in Ulysses. Alexander has not been heard from or seen by family or friends since this date. He's been staying with family and friends prior to his disappearance. It's believed that Alexander may still be in the local Ulysses area, or he may be in the Garden City area. Again, at the time of his disappearance, he was 35. He's now 39. He's 5'11", weighs 235 pounds, has black hair that he shaves nearly bald, and brown eyes. He does have a tattoo of a bumblebee on his face underneath his left eye. Has Perez tattooed on one of his arms, and he has a tattoo of a cross on a chain across his chest. If you have any information regarding Alexander's disappearance, or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Grant County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 620-356-3500 or Ulysses, Kansas Police Department at 620-356-4600 or KBI at 785-296-4017, and see if we can help get Alexander located and found, back to his family, because I know they're really looking long and hard and have been for some time. So let's see if we can't get him located and home.
Absolutely.
And then last week, Candy told us that it doesn't look like they are going to be charging Oscar with anything related to Alexander. So it's kind of
Right.
back to square one, which is very, very frustrating.
And Ron, yeah, I did make a flyer for him, but I've also been informed he's been located as well by informed by his mother that he was located safe. So I'll have to update to located safe, and I'll do that right after the show. It was DeVore Carter is who that was, but yeah, he's been located.
And then we have a show favorite here, Kenny Wright-Check. Last week, Ricky told us that somebody's got some younger pictures of Kenny that we're looking forward to seeing soon.
Yeah, I need to get a hold of her.
We've been really wanting to just again in this business, you want the most recent pictures. But we've talked about Kenny he was one of the first show me and Ricky ever did together. We covered Kenny, and I'd just like to learn more about him and see what he looked like.
Right. Yeah, and Kenny, he's missing from here in Salina, Kansas since November 4th of 2019. He was 69 when he went missing. He'd now be 74. He's 5'9", 175 pounds, gray hair and blue eyes. He does sometimes use the last name Brown. He does suffer from diminished mental health capabilities, and he is on disability, but he does not try to access his money since he was last seen. He may have family up in the northwest Kansas area, possibly around Colby. He was last seen at the Gospel Mission in Salina. He left there and has not been seen or heard from since then. He does not have a cell phone, vehicle, or any identification on him. His main mode of transportation was a bicycle that he rode around town to pick up scrap metal. Again, time of his disappearance, he was 69. He's now 74. He's 5'9", 175 pounds, gray hair and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Kenny's disappearance, you know of his whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210. Or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477, or you can text SA Tips to Crimes, which is 274-637, or visit www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip, or call the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can help get him located and back to where he needs to be. And, we've been bringing this up the last couple of shows too, is the Saline County Sheriff's Department is trying to raise money to help pay for DNA testing on remains that were found out in a creek bed along Magnolia Road out on the west part of town. And initially, they just released that they had found a partial skull, and then when they started talking about raising the money and testing DNA, they released a little bit more, stating that they had found additional remains in a dilapidated tent. So, hopefully we can get these remains identified and find out who that is, so we can get some closure for somebody. And thinking of where they were located at, honestly, is not too far from where Kenny was last seen. So, they are saying that the remains are male, and they're estimating that the time between when the male died and when the remains were found were about a year. And I looked at KBI and I looked at all the missing persons in Saline County, and again, Kenny's comes closest to matching that time frame. I'm not saying it's him. I'm not saying it's not, because I don't know, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to find out what they find out.
Yeah, it will be.
Another thing we thought on this show a lot, and if anybody watching knows, with Kenny being a recipient of benefits from the state and having a payee, we were just curious if anybody knows, like, what would it take for that to be interrupted? Like, does Kenny have a bunch of money sitting at his payee's house right now? Or, like, we just were kind of curious if anybody knows how that works. If somebody's missing, what happens to their benefits, and sort of that. We're going to talk about Rochelle Elizabeth Hammond while Ricky reads this flyer. We will have a number at the bottom of the screen for anybody who feels like they might need a little bit of help.
Okay. Yeah, this is Rochelle Elizabeth Hammond. She's missing from Moscow, Colorado since August 15th of 2019. She was 30 when she went missing. She would now be 35. She's 5'6", 120 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. She was last seen walking away from her Moscow, Colorado home. She left all of her belongings behind, including her phone, her identification, her medication, her car, computer, tools, and pet dog. She'd only been living in the area for about 3 weeks prior to her disappearance. She'd previously lived in the Columbus, Ohio area. She may be living homeless. Although police can find little evidence in her disappearance, her mother believes that she did not leave of her own accord and may have become a human trafficking victim. Rochelle suffers from bipolar and schizophrenia and has been prescribed medication that she left behind. Her nose is pierced. She has numerous tattoos, including the phrase "Live like a lion" on her upper chest, the star behind her ear, the skull on the back of her wrist, stars on the inside of her forearm, a cat with a bong on her shoulder, and other tattoos. And there's some photos of them there on the flyer. Rochelle was last known to be wearing a black tank top, khaki shorts, black Nike shoes, and she has a silver circular barbell in her nose. If you have any information regarding Rochelle's disappearance or you know her whereabouts, please call the Alamosa County, Colorado Sheriff's Office at 719-589-6608 and see if we can't get her located and back home to her family where she belongs.
Yeah, last week I kind of just looked up the area where she went missing.
Yeah.
And there's like sand dunes, and I mean it's a kind of a desolate area out there.
Yeah.
Here you go, Derek. Ryan's saying he can answer a little bit of that answer about the payee for you.
All right. We will reach out to you this week. I'm really curious about like what's going on there because it's, I think it's important, especially to find out like if it is still paid out, like where's that money? Is it really being held on to for Kenny? There's just a lot of questions that come up, in that whole situation.
Right. And James is saying he tries and shares what he can share there in Utah when they pop up on my feed. Very much appreciated, James.
Miss Haley.
Yep, that's another Salina case. Haley Davis, missing from here in Salina since July 21st of 2023. She was 19 when she was missing. She's now 20. She's 5'6" to 5'7", weighs between 190 and 200 pounds. Her hair was last known to be dyed bleach blonde, and she has blue eyes. She left Salina with a male acquaintance to go to Wichita, Kansas. She was last active on her social media and last heard from on July 21st. And at the time of her disappearance, Haley was 19. She's now 20. She is 5'6" to 5'7" and weighs between 190 and 200 pounds. Again, her hair was last known to be dyed bleach blonde, and she has blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Haley's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477 or text SA TIPS to crimes, which is 274-637, or go to www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link there to submit a tip. Or you can call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-268-4181 or 316-268-4407 or 316-263-6011. Or you can call KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can help get Haley located and back home to where she needs to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I was saying, yeah, have Ricky reach out to him personally. Yep. Got him on my Facebook. Not a problem. All right. No, ready. After I cover her flare, I want to touch on something that happened earlier this week. But this is Dana Jane Bruce, missing from Sedalia, Missouri since October 4th, 2008. She was 23 when she'd been missing. She's now 39. She's 5'2", 98 pounds. She has brown hair and green or hazel eyes. She was last seen at her children's babysitter home in Sedalia, Missouri. She had left the children there earlier that day so she could go out for the evening. She returned at midnight and gave the babysitter more money and asked her to watch the children for the rest of the night. She was last seen at Malone's Bar on Main Street with a young man driving a late model red Ford F-150 truck earlier on the night of her disappearance. She left with that man at 11:30 p.m. Police have identified the man Dana was with on the night she vanished. He traveled to Atlanta, Georgia after her disappearance, and police questioned him about Dana after he was arrested there on unrelated charges of marijuana possession and driving on a suspended license. Authorities have not named him publicly, but they are calling him a person of interest in Dana's case. He told his questionnaires that he and Dana parted ways after they left the bar, and he never saw her after that. Dana left all of her belongings behind, including a hairbrush and toothbrush, and she does not have credit cards, debit cards, checking account, cell phone, or a car. Again, at the time of her disappearance, she was 23. She would now be 39. She's 5'2" and weighs 98 pounds. She has brown hair that was colored brown at the roots and black at the ends with red highlights and green or hazel eyes. Dana was last known to be wearing a black shirt with the word Rebel and silver lettering on the front and blue jeans. Dana has a tattoo of a teddy bear with wings and the name Dylan on her upper left arm. She is blind in her left eye. Dana has a 2-inch scar along her lower spine and a staple scar on her right shoulder. Her ears are pierced 1 time each. If you have any information regarding Dana's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call Sedalia, Missouri Police Department at 660-827-7823 or 660-826-8100, or the Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178, or their toll-free number 866-362-6422, or you can call Private Investigator Leslie at 910-427-0070 and see if we can help get Dana located and back home to her family. Yep, will do, Ryan. Will do.
Do you know Dana's birthday?
I can look it up real fast. Won't be hard to find. Let's see, geographical. Let's go into misery. Let's see here.
Because that's another, like, you make the flyers, but then if they're not found, like, you have to go back. And I was just kind of curious how you know when to update the ages.
Yeah, July 10th, 1985.
Okay.
Whoops.
That was my daughter.
I was like, my
You know what I was going to touch on, though, what I was mentioning a minute ago, was a couple nights ago, I was messaged by an individual that was not happy with the fact that I was posting missing persons flyers for people that were only missing a day. And basically telling me that it was illegal and they were going to have me prosecuted and I was going to be serving jail time. And I tried to reiterate to this person that everything I post is legitimate. They're either requested, well, actually more times than not they're requested. Other times I run across them on law enforcement Facebook and make them from there, but more times than not they are requested either by law enforcement or families or other entities, but they are legitimate. And apparently this person doesn't even live in Kansas from what I saw, but in Kansas, and I've talked about this before, when a person goes missing, law enforcement has to take and file a report immediately. There's not a 24-hour wait, 48-hour wait, 72-hour wait. They have to take and file that report immediately. So it just kind of blew me away that this person was that adamant about it, and they eventually blocked me from the conversation. I'm like, well, okay, that's how you feel.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know I do everything by the book. I follow the law. If I find information that's not accurate, I don't use it. I don't go by speculation or guesswork. It's got to be factual before I'll put it on the flyer. So, and I saw comments on a flyer for somebody we're going to cover later that was questioning whether it was a scam or not. And I had to comment 2 different comments on that particular flyer stating this is not a scam page. And she is legitimately missing. They were questioning it because she went missing in August. She was found and she went missing again in September. Right. So they were questioning because it was so close in time whether it was a scam or not. No, it's just that sometimes these juveniles will repeatedly run again and again and again.
Absolutely.
I was kind of confused by the guy's just overall comments.
Yeah. Their comments were just off the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's another young lady I've been doing flyers for that every time she runs, her mom messages me and says, she ran again. And it's okay. I'll get her flyer updated and I'll get it put out there again.
Yeah.
And so Yeah, I mean everything I do is legit, so I don't know why he questioned the 1 day thing. But this person was pretty adamant that because it was 1 day, I was wrong. And he even called me a liar.
Yeah.
I-
That was
It was
crazy.
pretty weird.
Yeah, yeah. Like, well, there's a lot of things I am, but dishonest is not one of them.
Right.
I try to be as honest as I can be because I try to instill in my kids that I don't like being lied to, and I don't like to find out I'm being lied to because it'll make me extremely upset. And I try to instill into them, you may not want to tell the truth because you're afraid of getting in trouble, but you'll get in worse trouble by not telling the truth. So, be as honest as you can. Honesty is always the best way to go.
It's really sad that there's not very many people like that in today's day and age anymore.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that.
I'm somebody who thrives on, like, if 100 people tell me good job, that feels good and everything, but as soon as one person like hyper criticizes me, it's like so much gasoline on the fire for like, okay, now I'm definitely not going to stop, so
Right.
I always thank God for the haters, because if it wasn't for them, I don't know if I'd still be doing this crazy gig. Let's talk about Peyton Walker here.
I can relate to that, Dirk. I can relate to that. Trust me. Oh, yeah. This is Peyton Walker. And I thought I had them all pulled, but I missed her. Give me 2 shakes. I thought I had every one of them covered. Darn it. I thought I was on top of things today, despite everything
She's only
going
been
on.
for a couple of days, it looks like.
Yeah. This is weird. Okay. Been missing since September 15th. When I'm opening it here, hang on just a second. Actually, I want to double check something real fast because I have her as marked as, well, wait a minute. No, I don't think she has been. Let me make sure she's still listed as missing, because I remember I had an issue with that one because her mom messaged me and said she was located, so I was going to update, and then she said never mind, she hasn't been located. So let me double check here real quick. No, she has been cleared from KBI, so apparently I forgot to pull that one. So we'll go on to a different one. So go ahead and pull Peyton down and we'll do a different one. Yeah. Okay, Lorenzo Sanchez. There you're on here. I saw you. Yep, way up there. Okay. Lorenzo Sanchez, missing from Kansas City, Kansas, September 11th of 2024. He's 16. He's 5'5", weighs 120 pounds, has dark brown, almost black hair, and dark brown eyes. Don't have much more information than that. His hair is longer than what is shown in the photo now. Again, he's 16, 5'5", 120 pounds, dark brown, almost black hair, and dark brown eyes. And again, his hair is longer than what's shown in the photo. If you have any information regarding Lorenzo's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department at 913-596-3000 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Lorenzo located and back to where he needs to be. Yes, Connie, she was found. I forgot to pull it out of the thing for the show tonight. One slipped by me.
And I would say to anybody who's missing on their own volition, and you're, I'll even go like 15 years old. 3 years right now in your brain seems like a long time, but I promise you it's nothing. Like this guy right here, I don't know what your situation is, Lorenzo, but in 2 years, which is no time at all, it's game time. You're an adult, and hopefully you're making decisions that are going to push you forward and put you in a position to take care of the people that rely on you. Don't let life fool you and let you think 2 years is a long time. It's nothing.
Right.
It's nothing at all.
So fast. It goes so fast.
All right. This is one I just did the other day. Nathalia, I'm guessing that's how you pronounce that. Martinez, missing from Wichita, Kansas, on September 11th of this year. She's 15, 5 foot tall, 130 pounds, black hair, blue eyes. She was last known to be wearing a black sweatshirt and sweatpants. If you have any information regarding Nathalia's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9254 or 316-660-9456 or 316-263-6011 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Nathalia located and back to where she belongs.
Yeah,
I kind of like that name, Nathalia. That's cool.
it's pretty.
Yeah.
And I just want to put out there, for the kids that are missing / runaway, there is a phone number for you to call. It's 1-800-RUNAWAY. It's 1-800-786-2929. If you want to go home and you're afraid of consequences, call. They can mediate between you and your parents. They can help you in any situation to get back home. I know there's like DCF and stuff like that, but as far as just being mad at your parents and running off or thinking this boy is worth it or that girl's worth it, and you decide it's not, make a phone call. They can help you get back home.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Richard Hutchinson is asking, I'm new. I'd like to ask why there's Amber Alerts and missing posters put up and new news alerts when kids go missing, but why aren't there reports when they're found or are no longer missing? That's a good question. Sometimes there are. I know sometimes they just basically say like if it's an Amber Alert, they'll say the youth was found and the suspect arrested sometimes, or there's occasions where they get the youth recovered, but they're still looking for the suspect. But sometimes we don't get much more than that. And I don't know why that is, but I guess that's a good question. Like we had an Amber Alert, I can't remember how many days ago that was, I think it was 4 months. Was it 4 months old? No, he was a little bit older than that, I think. But Dad took him at knife point or gunpoint and fled with him, and the Amber Alert went out, and they did find the child unharmed, and he was arrested, and that's all they basically put out there. So it's good that they're at least letting us know that they were located safe, and the person they were looking for was arrested.
Right.
Especially when you're involving guns and knives in the situation. Think about that. Think about the trauma you're inflicting on your own kid doing that. Come on.
Yeah, absolutely.
From what I understand, the protocol is the child's found or recovered. Step 2 is they up law enforcement agencies. Step 3 is they notify the Amber Alert systems. And I do know sometimes whenever they cancel it, I will get a secondary alert. And I think for me, just as a human being, that secondary alert is a lot less jarring than the initial Amber Alert. So it's easy to forget. And then it says that this is to me where you kind of get, I understand that comment. It says broadcast systems are shut down, meaning that they just basically stop playing it on the radio. But they should, in my opinion, they should say like that they've been found. And then number 5, it says some agencies may issue a follow-up public announcement or a news release. To me, that's where the bottleneck is. I think we've come this far with Amber Alerts. We should be able to come up with a cohesive system to let the world know, hey, we can stop looking. We found who we're looking for, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like with silver alerts, they'll put out a silver alert, and a lot of times with the silver alerts, they'll say, hey, they were located wherever they were located at, and they'll let you know that they're being reunited family if they were found safe. And sometimes they will actually let you know when they were not found, safe or alive. But yeah. And this is Rhiannon Jones. And we're also going to cover her sister as well. Now, Rhiannon's been missing since September 15th of this year. She's 17, 5'7", 150 pounds, brown hair, green eyes. Believe she may be with her sister Bria Ingram, who's also considered a missing endangered runaway. Again, Rhiannon's 17, she's 5'7", weighs 150 pounds. She has brown hair and green eyes. If you have any information regarding Rhiannon's disappearance, you know her whereabouts. Please call the Chanute 911 Communications Center. She's missing from Chanute, Kansas, this time instead of Topeka. It's 620-431-5768. or the KBI at 785-296-4017. And there were some comments questioning, the first time she went missing was Topeka, this time Chanute. Not sure 100%, but it could be that she, more or less, probably a foster kid, and she was originally in Topeka, and they may have transported her to Chanute and put her in a placement there, and she ran from that placement. I don't know for sure, just, possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I just Googled Chanute. It looks like it's a tiny, tiny little town in the middle of nowhere. That would be a heck of a culture shock to somebody who was living in a city their whole life. Like we're here in
Right.
Hope, and me and Hope and May, we think it's just pretty laid back and normal. But you bring somebody from a city here, they think they went back in time or something.
Right. Yeah, if you want to pop her sister up there, Brianna Ingram or Bria Ingram, real quick, we can cover her real quick too if you want, or I can go ahead and cover Jamie. It doesn't matter. Let's see. Yeah,
I got Bria up on the screen now.
Okay. Yeah, Bria Ingram is missing from Topeka, Kansas, since July 31st of 2024. She's 16. She's 5'6", weighs between 140 and 145 pounds. Her hair was last known to be dyed black, and she has blue eyes. When I first made her flyer, both sisters were spotted near Southwest 10th and Washburn Avenues, and they're known to frequent the Topeka and Shawnee County Public Library, Burger King, and Dollar General store in that area. Don't know if Rihanna's made it back that way yet or not, but Bria is 16. She's 5'6", weighs between 140 and 145 pounds. Her hair is last known to be dyed black, and she does have blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Bria's disappearance, or you know her whereabouts, please call the Topeka, Kansas. The Shawnee County, Kansas Sheriff's Office. I got to fix that. It's 785-251-2200 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. And see if we can't get Bria located, and see if we can't help get Rhiannon located too. Make sure both sisters are safe. Now, if you want to put, we can, yeah. All right. I thought we were going to do Jamie, but that's okay. This is Cynthia Renee Gonzalez. This is an unsolved homicide from September 22nd, 1991, down in Arlington, Texas. She was reported missing to Arlington, Texas police on December 22nd, 1991. Or excuse me, September 22nd, 1991. I'm just not with it tonight. September 17th, 1991. On September 22nd, 1991, Cynthia's body was discovered in a creek bed off County Road 313 in Johnson County, Texas. It was later determined Cynthia died from multiple gunshot wounds. She was reportedly at her apartment with her boyfriend when her husband stopped by to deliver their daughter for a weekend visit. Sometime later, Cynthia left for an appointment without her customary bodyguard. She was never seen again. Serial killer Kenneth Allen McDuff was looked at in connection with Cynthia's death. Jim Ford, longtime Arlington police officer and renowned homicide investigator, had looked at McDuff in connection with Cynthia's case for going on 18 years. He was never able to make a match or a mismatch. McDuff was believed to have abducted a victim from a car wash in Austin, Texas. Cynthia's car, a two-seat Pontiac Fiero, was seen parked at a car wash in Arlington the day she disappeared. There were similarities in the Austin case and Cynthia's case. He kidnapped, sexually assaulted, and killed his victim at a car wash in Austin. He dumped the body of several of his victims in rural areas, and several of his victims were killed by shooting them. Investigators could not place McDuff in the Arlington area and could not determine whether he was out on the streets at that time, but could not find him as being incarcerated at that time either. Other persons of interest have come up and have been cleared as well. McDuff has since been ruled out by DNA testing. If you have any information regarding Cynthia's death, please contact 817-459-5772. If you wish to remain anonymous and possibly receive a reward of up to $1,250, please call the Toronto County, Texas Crime Stoppers at 817-469-8477 and see if we can't get some closure for her family and get some justice for their family and Cynthia as well.
We have a comment that says we are coming up on the 30
You're as bad as me.
say it, 33rd year anniversary of her death on the 21st of this month.
This month, yeah. Here in just a few days.
Yeah. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say.
I can't do it either.
It's getting kind of tongue tied there.
Yeah. Well, I was wanting to say 33, and I knew that wasn't how it needed to be said.
Ricky, what was the flyer you wanted to go next?
Jamie Hernandez.
Jamie Hernandez.
Yeah.
I don't see that one in here.
Jamie Jasmine Zuby Hernandez. You had it up on screen earlier.
Oh, okay. Okay, never mind. I guess I just moved it. There we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go.
Okay, you got it up there?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, this is another unsolved homicide. Again, Jamie Jasmine Zubia Hernandez, May 30th of 2015, Kansas City, Kansas. She ran away from her foster home in Athena, Kansas on June 9th, 2012. Prior to disappearance, Jamie had recently been prosecuted in a juvenile court for drug possession. She was due in court for her sentencing shortly after her disappearance. Jamie never showed up and was never seen by her foster family again. There were unfortunately very little media coverage on Jamie's disappearance, likely due to her runaway status. 3 years later, during the early morning hours of May 30th, 2015, a Kansas City resident called police to report a shootout in the 2500 block of Ridge Avenue. According to the witness, 2 vehicles fired shots at each other, and a female passenger in one of the vehicles was killed as a result. The female passenger's body was dumped on the side of the road, and the vehicles drove off before police arrived. 2 days later, on June 1st, 2015, authorities announced that the slain female was identified as Jamie. The identity of Jamie's killer remains unknown, as does the identity of the driver of the car Jamie was riding in when she was shot. Additionally, Jamie's whereabouts from June 2012 to May 2015 still remain a mystery. Although she was ultimately found in Kansas City, it's unknown where she stayed or how she survived during those 3 years. Investigators said they received a tip that Jamie was in Kansas City back in 2013, but when they followed that lead, they were unable to find her. At that time, police were searching for a late 1990s or early 2000s white Ford F-150 with flare sides, tinted windows, 20-inch chrome rims, and a touchscreen device in the cab. The truck was later located on June 2nd, 2015, unoccupied, and was taken and processed for evidence. And if you have any information regarding Jamie's murder, please call the Athena, Kansas Police Department at 785-989-4521. Or the TIPS hotline anonymously at 816-474-8477, or KBI at 800-572-7463. And see if we can't get some justice for Jasmine and her family and friends. And again, I've talked about this the last couple of shows since we've been covering her, that this is the case that fires me up about, even if they think a runaway is a runaway, still investigate it thoroughly. Make sure you're not just saying, "Oh, let's run away. She'll show up eventually, or he'll show up eventually." Do the legwork. Do the, My theory on it is start from the worst case scenario and work backwards. And if you find out that they're actually a legit runaway, not a problem. But even if you think they are, you don't know if they ran away on their own accord. Don't know if they were groomed or coerced into running. So that's why I think cell phones need searched, any kind of other devices, computers, laptops, iPads, video game systems, all need searched. These predators will go after our youth in any way they can get to them, whether it's cell phones, laptops, iPads, video games. They're hitting them all. Apps.
Disgusting.
Apps on the phones. They're hitting them everywhere. So it's going to be up to us to keep our kids safe, and situation like this where she disappears from foster care for 3 years and is found shot dead in the middle of the street, or in the street because somebody just dumped her out of his vehicle and left her there to die. That kind of stuff is just ridiculous. I did see a piece where they said that they tracked down the owner of the truck that they took into custody to search, and I think it said something along the lines of I let somebody borrow it, but they didn't know the name of the person they let borrow it, which does not make sense at all to me. Because why would you let somebody you don't know borrow your vehicle? That just does not jive. So,
No.
Somebody out there knows something about Jamie's case, and I would love to see him call it in and somebody be held accountable for this mess, because 13 years old. 13 years old. She didn't deserve that.
No, not at all.
Another thing is I think that ever questioning the whole runaway thing was bad math in hindsight, because you're right. Like if somebody's running away, they've probably been coerced by somebody who doesn't have
Mhm.
best interest, or they're running from somebody awful at their own house. I think if a kid runs away, I think we need to send an officer over there and figure out why. Like at least start there. I don't think that a child
10
running away
o'clock.
from their house is something to brush off at all. But real quick, Ricky did say there are people that know stuff. There is the Crime Stoppers number on the bottom of the screen, and then I have
Mhm.
information scrolling across. If you're not
Right.
familiar with Crime Stoppers, essentially you can just call and tell the police information without them knowing your name. So
Right.
it's you can and
And
a lot of times there's a cash reward, but I mean it's just the
yeah,
main thing is the anonymity.
right. And down there on the bottom of the flyer, there's that "Say It Here" QR code you can scan and submit that way too. I mean, they make it very easy for people to get their information in. So let's get it in. Let's help them solve this thing.
Absolutely.
You know. And this is one that I just got bumped up again today, or no, yesterday I think it was. Oh, gone it. Let me pull it up. Oh my goodness! I thought I was on top of things today. Oh,
Probably
course
I
it
remember
ever-
when you covered this one. I when I was in the funeral industry for a year, and I did a funeral in St. Francis. And it's a tiny. If it's what I remember, it's like the tiniest little town ever.
right,
we
right.
There he
Yeah,
is.
Jesse Lynn Crookston. I had people commenting saying, "Well, I thought he was found." Well, he's still very much listed as missing. So, and I've had people comment confirming that they hadn't been found yet. So, Jesse Lynn Crookston, missing from St. Francis, Kansas, since November 21st, 2020. Was 37 when he went missing. He's now 41. 6 foot tall, 200 pounds, brown hair, green eyes. Last seen approximately at 8:40 p.m. on Sunday, November 22nd in St. Francis. Again, he was 37 when he went missing. He's now 41. 6 foot tall, 200 pounds, brown hair, green eyes. If you have any information regarding Jesse's disappearance, his whereabouts, please call the Cheyenne County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 785-332-8880 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can help get Jesse located and make sure he's safe and sound. And that's been 4 years coming up, I believe, isn't it? Yeah, almost in November. Yeah. And I do like Bianca's comment there. It says, "Dear Lord, we lift up all those who are missing and wrapped in uncertainty and distance. Surround them with your love and protection. Guide their steps and bring them peace wherever they may be." Amen.
Amen.
Definitely amen. This is one. This flyer here is another unsolved homicide. Janet Lee Rich Adams Weichel. This one that actually the Wellington newspaper did a series of 4 articles on her case, and I just kind of summarized it, but I do have all the articles. I created a folder on Kansas Missing and on Kansas Missing and Unsolved Homicides with all the articles in there with the flyer. So if anybody wants to really deep dive into that, all the articles are there. But this is Janet Lee Rich Adams Weichel, 1986, Wellington. In the early morning of May 16, 1986, Janet Lee Rich Adams Weichel went missing from Wellington, Kansas. 8 years later, her fate would finally be discovered. In 1986, Janet held a second shift position at Plessy Welco, and it was a routine to stop by the post office to pick up her mail after finishing work at 1 a.m. On the night of her disappearance, witnesses reported hearing a heated argument outside the post office. It was later discovered that Janet had not picked up her mail. Janet resided at 211 West 2nd Street in Wellington with her boyfriend, Kenny Schertz. It was Kenny who reported Janet missing the following morning. He discovered her car parked on F Street just west of the post office. According to him, it was unusual for her not to return home to change out of her work clothes and steel-toed boots. News reports revealed that Janet's purse and keys were missing from the car. It was noted that she was paid that night, but her paycheck was not cashed. On August 27, 1994, a fisherman waiting in the, I don't know how to say that, Chikashkia River discovered a skull. It was later determined by a forensic anthropologist that it was Janet's. The skull was not completely intact as it was missing a portion of the lower jaw. In August 1995, a fisherman discovered a right tibia bone that was determined to be consistent with someone Janet's age, and since it was found near the location of Janet's skull, it was presumed to be hers. No cause of death has been determined. Janet's case is classified as a homicide. If you have any information regarding Janet's death, a disappearance or death, please call the Wellington, Kansas Police Chief Tracy Heath at 620-326-3331 or 800-572-7463. And they also have the Crime Stoppers number, 620-326-3135, and toll-free 800-222-TIPS. On May 1st, 1995, Wellington Sumner County Crime Stoppers offered a $1,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest of the person or persons responsible for Janet's death, and it does remain active to this day. So that reward's still active after all these years.
Wow.
So again, if you know anything regarding her murder, no matter how unimportant or small or anything you think it might be, call that in. There was an update after they did a series of 4 articles that stated that after the articles ran, that they got some information via a tip that law enforcement was looking into in connection to her case. So we'll have to wait and see what comes from that. But yeah, if you have any information on this, I know it's been a long time, and I know memories, start fading and things like that. But if you know anything, call it in. And this one is Tiara Lockhart. Missing from Topeka since September 12, 2024. She's 15, 5'3", 120 pounds, light brown hair, blue eyes. Don't have much more information than that. So if you have any information regarding her disappearance, her whereabouts, please call the Topeka, Kansas Police Department at 785-368-9200 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. See if we can't get Tiara located and back to where she needs to be. I think we still have 1, 2 more.
I have
3 more.
Thad, Cheyenne, and Bethany left.
Let's see. Yeah, Bethany, Cheyenne, and we didn't do Jesse Kenworthy yet either. Right?
I don't see him, but I'll look.
Oh, maybe I didn't put him in there.
Okay. Well, right now we have Thad, and then we'll have Cheyenne and Bethany.
Okay. That's cool. Yeah, this is Thad. I got to find this flyer here real quick. It's in my list somewhere. I know it's there. There it is. Missing from El Dorado, Kansas, September 3rd of this year. He's 51, 5'11", 240 pounds, brown and gray hair and blue eyes. He's last known to be driving a red Jeep, and I believe I saw in a comment it was red Jeep Patriot. So at least we know the model now. Tag number is still unknown. And he's 51 years old, 5'11", 240 pounds, brown and gray hair, and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Thad's disappearance, his whereabouts, please call the El Dorado, Kansas Police Department at 316-321-9120 or 316-321-9100 or KBI at 785-296-4017. See if we can help get Thad located and back to his family, because I know they're very, very worried about him.
Absolutely. And that wasn't too long ago.
No, not at all. And this is another El Dorado case that I just did this morning, actually. And this is Cheyenne Pant, missing from El Dorado, Kansas since August 16th, 2024. She's 22, 5'4", 160 pounds, red hair, hazel eyes. Cheyenne's family's not seen or been able to make contact with her since August 16th. And again, she's 22, 5'4", weighs approximately 160 pounds, has red hair and hazel eyes. If you have any information regarding Cheyenne's disappearance or her whereabouts, please call the El Dorado, Kansas Police Department at 316-321-9120 or KBI at 785-296-4017. See if we can't help get Cheyenne located and back to where she needs to be. It's just over a month, so let's see if we can't get her found. And this one I just actually updated because the only picture I had on this flyer originally was the one on the right side there. And then somebody messaged me with the other photo and the vehicle. And I was like, okay, we'll add them. And this is Bethany Hallisey, missing from Wichita, Kansas on September 16th, 2024. She's 14, 5'4", 160 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. Last seen getting into that green car pictured below. Not sure what kind of make and model it is, but we are told the person driving the car that she got into. He's 18, which was an 18-year-old male. So again, she's 14, 5'4", 160 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Bethany's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9254 or 316-660-9456 or 316-263-6011 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Bethany located and back to where she needs to be. Because no 18-year-old needs to be messing around with an 14-year-old. I'm sorry. But no. So let's see if we can get her found back to where she needs to be. I know if my daughters were 14, they sure wouldn't be hanging around no 18-year-old guys. That's for darn sure.
No.
Right.
There's
know
no
my
need
kids
for that.
wouldn't, but unfortunately, I did get married at 15, divorced at 15. It was okay.
Wow.
I thought I was in love.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, my sister's a rarity. She actually started dating a guy when she was 14. They split up briefly, got back together. They were married when my sister was 17. And they've been married ever since.
My mom and my dad were the same way.
Yeah.
They were high school sweethearts and married until his passing.
Yeah. They've got one daughter and 4 grandkids.
Aw.
So, yeah. Yep. My great nephews and great niece and nephew. Makes me feel old to say great nephew and great nephews and great niece.
Right.
But yeah, I think it was the last one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's all I have.
So,
Okay, because I can sure put in what's his name, Kenworth, or what was his name?
Jesse.
Yeah, I can put in Jesse if you want me to.
Let's go ahead and end it.
Okay.
I got a long day tomorrow, but it's been a great show. And then
Yeah.
prayer, and we'll be back next Wednesday at 9:00. I think we should start going
sure.
right at 9 next week. So
Okay. Next week my schedule is a little weird. I'm off on Tuesday, but I'm off. I think it's 6 on Wednesday, so I'll have to get everything loaded on Tuesday, and then that way I don't have much to do Wednesday. Yeah, that's a good point. They didn't have cell phones and computers back then. I used to I tell my kids life was a whole lot easier when I was your guys' age. We didn't have cell phones, didn't have internet, none of that good stuff. Our social media was getting off our butts and going outside.
It was. It was. Be home by the time the lights came on.
Yeah. I got to thinking about it too. It's something you really don't see, but maybe on rare occasions anymore are payphones.
Right.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah. But yeah, a good show. And thank you everybody for joining us tonight. And been a day, but I'll go ahead and thank you, Lord, for bringing us together to cover these cases tonight. And just pray that these folks these will reach the folks that have the information that's needed to bring them home and bring justice to the ones that have been violently taken from us. And let's pray they'll do the right thing and get that information in there. And until next week, everybody stay safe. God bless. Take care. And amen.
Amen.